Hello and welcome to Engage with Energy. My name is Meagan Reed. I'm the Director of Marketing for Engage Energy and Industrial Consulting. Today, our guest is Ashley Donnini. She is the CEO and Principal at Lola Link, and she is here to tell us all about the incredible things that she is doing in her company and throughout the industry. She is an amazing woman, mother of two, in the Virginia area, and I'm just going to hand it over to her. So, Ashley, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you, Megan, for having me. I'm excited to be on Engage with Energy. It's always an awkward question, I think, for me to answer. But at my core, you mentioned it. I'm a mom of two beautiful girls, Lola and Layla, wife of an incredible partner. Just happened to be exposed to the energy industry about 15 years ago and fell in love with it. Its mission, and most importantly, I would say the people like yourself. When you really think about the essential services that this industry provides, I mean, it's pretty remarkable.
Right.
That mission and that responsibility. And now I have my own boutique consulting firm, Lola Link Consulting, and I've just been having a really great time working with great people on just impactful things. So, yeah.
That's amazing. That's so wonderful. And I know you do, outside of Lola Link, you have several involvements. You run a LinkedIn group. I know you are speaking at a conference coming up. Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about those ventures.
Yeah, so the LinkedIn group is around the area for oil and gas. And it really is based on a recommended practice around safety management systems. And, the industry, the oil and gas industry specifically, while there have been aviation, nuclear, manufacturing, chemical, tons of other industries that have gone before oil and gas in this safety management system journey. Principally, it's the same, but the oil and gas industry are really new on that journey. And so I co-lead that LinkedIn group, and we just surpassed 1,700 members,
Wow.
which is pretty incredible.
Amazing.
Thank
Yes.
you, members. And the mission really is just to be a public discussion group and forum through a series of different kind of channels and access for folks who want to learn about safety management systems. And that's everyone from the boardroom, regulators, to the front line, people who are living and breathing actively the application of safety management in their day-to-day jobs. So it's a little bit about the LinkedIn group. It's been really fun to help scale that and grow it. In fact, tomorrow we have an event with Carl Weimer from the Pipeline Safety Trust and Sean Lyon with Marathon. And they're going to be talking about stakeholder engagement and this newer recommended practice that is aimed at public engagement and really just improving safety overall for the communities in which we serve. And just that continuous improvement vibe. So that's a little bit about the LinkedIn group. And then, I'm speaking at a couple of events, keynoting, which is kind of a different space, I would say, for me. But really talking about state of industry, innovation. It's really a really interesting and rich bed for opportunity for our industry from an oil and gas perspective, construction perspective, and really kind of provoking different thoughts around what that really means and how that translates in the future, whether it be safety or technology or process. So really excited about those opportunities with Inga and with Sander Resources coming up in August and September.
Very cool. Well, I will be sure to link those in the caption when I post this video so that people can check out the page because it is such a fantastic resource. And you and your co host have done so well with promoting that, and the information and the engagement within that group is phenomenal. And I know those conferences will have a much value added with you bringing your presence and perspective to their audiences. So, I'll definitely be sure that to include those when I share this. But tell us more about Lola Link specifically.
Well, Lola Link is really premised on a couple different thoughts, but I've been in the industry for a long time. I did regulatory work at the Virginia State Corporation Commission for utilities, stepped into the private side of oil and gas and electric industry. At the time, there was definitely transmission, midstream, distribution, generation, and electric distribution, and business units at NiSource, and have done a ton of different roles throughout my career, which have been really fun and exciting, mostly kind of in a bleeding edge type of way. Some, I would say, of those opportunities were by design, but early in my career, not. So not so much, just more of a, hey, would you be interested in doing this? So one area in particular, that I kind of think about from an industry perspective is you have, the operator perspective, regulator perspective, but you also have the service side of the business as well. And while it led and had responsibility areas for a lot of different services throughout my career, I hadn't sat in that seat and really wanted to explore that. And so that kind of curiosity, coupled with my daughter my first daughter at the time, Lola, really just thinking about what kind of journey I wanted her to observe for me, and how that might shape her throughout the course of her life. I think now, being a mom, there's so many little decisions that you can make and you don't even recognize that they're observing. And so wanted to really kind of have an intentional shift there around not letting kind of fear get in the way and be a constraint. So to something that could be really fun and great and a learning opportunity. Hope she has plenty down the road.
Oh, yeah.
But Lola Link was really kind of birthed out of those two kind of thoughts. And it's a boutique consulting firm that focuses on coming alongside customers, whether that's utility operator, it's a construction or engineering company, service technology firm. And they're really at a time in their journeys where they're finding themselves in like a high stake, far-reaching, high-impact type of opportunity for value. Now, sometimes that means it's in a place where they need a lot of stakeholder engagement to buy into a strategy or a product. And sometimes it's a situation where they don't necessarily want to be in, and they need help really creating a path forward and linking it to their long-term business goals. And that's kind of what we do. Some of the recent efforts that we've been really impactful and help leading include implementation tools that are used by the industry for safety management systems, particularly in the contractor space. We worked with the industry, a lot of different stakeholders pouring into that product for the betterment and the mission, right? We've helped customers increase their customer growth through their products. One to mention, maybe a risk modeling kind of tool for utilities to use, and even have helped out on high-stake negotiations in coordination with regulators on a multi-billion-dollar critical infrastructure project on the East Coast. So some really cool things.
Yeah, I'll say it sounds like you offer like a very unique service. It's like a very like it doesn't seem like very duplicated, very popular in other industries. Like you bring to the table something that people need and people want, and with your background and expertise, you are the perfect person to provide that. So very cool. I'm so
Thanks,
thrilled
Megan.
that has been going so well for you. What would you say is your greatest challenge? And that can be any way interpreted, however you see your challenge in life, your challenge with the company, in the industry, in the world.
Yeah, well, there's a ton.
Girl,
There's a ton in energy. I mean, the world is your oyster here. I looking back though, perspective wise, when I came into the industry, I unknowingly came at a really cool time. At that time, there was a lot of heavy compliance. There was a refocus on safety. And that's really kind of, I would say, continued, but it's to a degree slowed down, I think, from a exposure perspective at times because it's now continuous improvement, right? But some of that has been really built on what I would say kind of the shoulders of giants. And so now what we're starting to see is that slowness really kind of pick back up, and in the realm or the timing of innovation technology, there's really kind of this bit of a industrial type revolution that's occurring across the energy industry. So there's quite a few sea changes that are happening. To name just the obvious one, I would say, is the energy. I like to say evolution instead of transition.
Right.
ESG, yeah, right? Like that has been a conversation at board tables forever.
Right.
You can see that in their ESG statements, but it's one that now I would say probably geopolitically influenced for sure, but is making headlines every day. But the real kind of opportunity here is really around a unified front from the energy sector on what those roles really look like in order to sustain the energy that's currently being needed, right? To secure the future and really to serve domestically, right? Energy security, but also that broader kind of outlook in terms of energy evolution globally, right? Like you've got third world companies that on their energy evolution, oil, natural gas is an upfit, right? It's an upscale to the current energy resources, if they have any, at the time. So we've got a lot of opportunity to kind of consider all those factors. And while there's challenges, it's on a bed of a ton of opportunity,
Right.
both domestic and globally. So it's exciting. I think the micro pin and linchpin to that is the workforce. I hear that more as a challenge in the back hallway conversations, but it ties right to this premise of the larger task. So you need diverse talent. You have new and enhanced competencies from a skills readiness perspective. And then you have to have the continuity of the talent, which from a generational perspective, that continuity truly is a challenge, and the needs that you have to retain and even attract talent are very, very different. And so just a ton of work, I think, that often can kind of be forgotten or lost when we think about the energy evolution, because that is what's really that's the fuel, no pun intended,
Right.
for the evolution. It's people, it's the workforce and the talent, and we can't leave that behind. So that is a challenge, but also really exciting.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up, because it's something I think about frequently is just the evolution of the workforce is just mind-blowing. I mean, with everything that's happened in the world the last few years, it's just totally blown the top off of how people think about work and think about the world and what they want to do, and that's a challenge in itself for sure. But having a diverse, talented workforce with the congruency and consistency, yeah, I would say so. That could definitely be a challenge, but also an exciting time to see what the world is what we're gonna make of that in the future. Okay, so the next question I have for you is, what is something that you're specifically working on, a goal that you're striving towards? We're in the second half of the year. Maybe there's a goal that you want to accomplish by the end of the year. Is there something on your radar that you're working towards?
Yeah, well, I think over the last few years, I've really been deliberate about focusing on what I kind of call the big three, which are like my faith, my family, and my future. And I mention that because I think as women, we kind of get caught up. There's a lot, right? There's a lot of hard hats, I say, that we wear. And you get caught up in the day-to-day. I know I have, certainly. Oh, yeah. And before you know it, you kind of lose sight. So those are really the constant anchors in terms of goals that I set myself up for. But from a future perspective, business-wise, Lola Link, I've really had I would say, kind of blessing to be able to learn and confirm some of my understandings about what it means to be in the service industry. And so now it's really kind of taking that information, those learnings, and distilling it into really clarifying steps for, future growth. But short term, personally, through this year would be really seeing Lola through her first year of kindergarten. She starts in the end of this month. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about that, but that's super exciting. And then and I also, want to learn more about what it takes to write a children's book. It's kind of odd, but so really, cool. It's tying into kind of workforce and exposing and access to knowledge and opportunities at a really young age that really can support the energy evolution, frankly. So going to be exploring a little bit of that and see where that leads. But
cool. So a children's book about the energy area workforce. Oh my gosh. I knew it. I loved you from the moment I met you, but that is just like so right in my alley. Very interesting, very cool. I'm not surprised.
Yeah. So if you know anyone who's written a book,
oh my gosh, okay,
or a good illustrator,
yes, I will keep that on my radar,
including listeners of the podcast.
Yes, yeah. If anybody knows any children's book authority figures that can direct her in the right direction, connect now.
Yes, please be a blessing to me.
Yes. All right. So as we wind down and wrap up here, why don't you bestow upon our listeners your favorite quote? Okay, so I always have difficulty. I love quotes. So, but for today, there's a quote from Albert Einstein, and he has kind of said this saying around the fact that ships are always safe at the shore, but that's not what they're built for. And it's really about this kind of growth mindset in whatever you do, personal, professional, passions, daily tasks, to not let really kind of that fear constrain you. You recognize it and you kind of build the muscle to kind of sail through it. That this too shall pass type of concept, and just to kind of have the courage there. So ship is always safe at the shore, but that's not what it's built for. I love that. Very good. Yes. Time to take those risks. Grab the bull by the horns. And live your life. I love that. That's
Yeah.
a great sentiment to end on. Well, on that note, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for all of your insight and information. I highly recommend anybody who's watching, follow Ashley, follow her journey, check out Lola Link, join the LinkedIn group. She has been doing amazing things, and I can only imagine how many more amazing things are to come out of this industry professional. So thank you, Ashley. I really appreciate you being here.
Thanks for the time, and thanks for listening.
Of course. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.